So it's a pretty warm day today. Last night it got below freezing, but now it's going to be up in the 70s. I think tomorrow we're going to be up in the 80s. It's springtime. I just can't get over, spring and fall, summer was always kind of my favorite seasons, but spring is becoming one of my most disliked seasons. I told you this in several videos now. It's just a lot of extra work trying to figure out if we're going to bring firewood in, or the rain, trying to keep the wood dry, trying to keep the well clean because it gets dirty from so much rain saturating the ground. So I got to flush it out all the time, and I don't know, I'm not complaining. It's interesting how something that I used to enjoy, not so much, but yeah, a couple more months we'll be out of this. So I was filling the water tank today, and I've said many times how much I enjoy having an endless supply of water. I would imagine most people don't think about their water too much. I mean, maybe when the bill comes in, like, man, there's the bill, or I don't know. But to me, it's something I'm just very proud to have. It's an old well, it gets dirty, it's a lot of maintenance, a lot of work, but I'm glad to have it. And one of the things that I've said in the past is, we learned as nomads, water is so valuable. It's just critical to have. Maybe I'm spoiled, maybe I need water more than most people. I know a lot of nomads and potential nomads always complain to me about my complaint about not having enough water. But most that we'd ever give was about 40 gallons for 2 weeks. Well, I just filled 25 gallons, and Carolyn's in there doing laundry now, and she's not even using that water. She's using the water from the sinks that I filled a few days ago. So that's probably another 25 gallons of water there. It's a little work to get it out of the ground for me because we're off grid, so I got to start the generator, I got to hook it up to solar panels, I got to run a hose over here. I mean, I say a little extra work, it's really not that bad. It's kind of like my break from all the other stuff. Start the generator and I stand here and watch the water. But for most people, they turn on the faucet, water comes out, and that's that. I mean, even when I rented an apartment, the biggest thing I hated when I rented an apartment was when my ex-wife left me. She took the Berkey. I have a Berkey now. I've replaced the one she took, but she took the Berkey, and I started drinking the water, and it made my stomach upset. And what I realized is changing water supplies. I noticed this as a nomad also. It's like eating different foods for a dog. You trade food. You feed them one food, and then the next time you feed them another food, and it makes them upset. Well, the same thing with water. You'll get used to it, but in the meantime, you're gonna not feel good. So I got another Berkey and was able to drink the water. That's the only time I really thought about the water, was when it was making me sick. Other than that, turn on the water, use as much as you can. I don't even think I had a water bill when I lived in an apartment. I think the utilities, at least the water bill, I'm sure of it, was included in the rent. You don't think about it. Use all you want. Well, that's kind of the way it is here. We kind of use whatever we want. Take a shower as many times a day as we want. If I get dirty messing around with the chicken stuff, take a shower, no big deal. I mean, the only downside to that is the laundry. It's a manual operation here. We don't have a wash machine. So the more laundry we use, the more time Carolyn's sitting there plunging in the water. And she refuses to let me do it, so I always feel bad. I try to limit the amount of laundry that she has to do. But it sure is nice to have. Same way with electric. I mean, I don't have an unlimited supply of electric like I do with water, but I feel very proud that it's mine. I'm making all that I use. It was kind of neat having to calculate whether Carolyn's grow lights would affect us very much. Do I need a new battery? Do I need more solar panels? It's just neat to have all this stuff. I was filling the water today, and it reminded me of the last place that I owned. I owned a house in it was called a village. It had 101 people in it. It did have a mayor and a sewage facility, and the water and the sewer were in the same bill. I didn't understand that because it wasn't ran by the same people. The water was ran by a company in the town over from us. The town over from us was 10 miles away, and the swamp was ran by the village. But it was all one bill, and they calculated the sewer based on how much water you used. Now, what was interesting was with the water, each month you would have to go out and you would have to read your own meter. And so every month I go out and read the meter, and it wasn't always convenient either because the meter hole, the hole that the meter was in, was usually full of water. So you had to clean that out. Then you'd have to clean the little gauge and read the meter. But I noticed that there was always a guy that came out and always checked the meter, and I didn't understand that. Why was he checking the meter when it was a self-metering thing? Well, we lived there 10 years, and it was one of those things that, you notice it. My office window, I had an office like I do here, the window was right in front of my computer. I could look up and I could see what was going on outside. So like the electric guy, he'd come out and read the meter. I'd always see him. He'd walk right up to the window and I'd wave to him. But the water meter was out by the sidewalk and I'd always see him. He'd never see me. Once a month, he'd come down and read the meter. I don't know, I was there maybe 5 years. I'm estimating on the years. I tried to think about this as best I could in my head, but I'm just gonna have to throw out some numbers because none of it's accurate. But let's say I was there 5 years. And I found out they did random inspections. They checked, I don't know, let's say there's 50 houses in town, 40 houses, 30 houses, whatever there was. I mean, there was only 101 people in town. That included kids. So 30 houses, and they checked 10 houses a month. Let's just call it that. Well, I thought, man, if it's random, why does he come out to my house every month? Doesn't he trust me? Well, of course, you'd see him and you think, I'm going to call the water company. I'm going to find out what's going on, and then you'd forget about it. So I don't know, let's fast forward a couple more years. I was talking to one of the neighbors. We were talking about water and the water bill and all that, and he said, you don't have to be that accurate. Don't worry about it. They never check. I said, well, that's a bunch of, what? I said, he checks mine every month. I see him. I see him right out my office window. I'm sitting at the computer. I was self-employed. I'm sitting at the computer every month. He shows up. He never comes by here. I put numbers down. Snow on the ground. I'm not going out there. I just write something down. They never check mine. And he says, I know the guy. Let's call him Tom. I don't remember his name. I've known Tom for 50 years or 40 years or whatever it was. I grew up with him, went to school. Well, I got to finding out that basically Tom knew everybody in town. He was friends with everybody. They all hung out at the local bar in the town that the water district was in, that one town 10 miles away. I got the impression that Tom had to come out and do random inspections. Well, he didn't know me. I didn't know Tom. I was new to town. I moved in there, 2002, 2001. So Tom was letting all his friends get away with whatever number they wanted to put down. Oh, I'm a little broke, or it's too cold to go outside, or the hole's full of water. I'm not going out there. But he had to check somebody because his job required that he did random inspections. I guess they never checked who he was checking, his paperwork. I guess they just checked how many people he was checking. Maybe he had checked 10 people and he checked 10 people he didn't know. Eventually, I went out there and I said, hey, nice to meet you. I understand your name's Tom. He says, yeah, I'm Tom. Nice to meet you. He said, why do you come out here? He says, well, I got to do random inspections. Make sure everybody's reporting their self-reporting correctly. I said, I understand it's random, but I see you check my water every month. Oh, no, I don't check yours every month. I said, sir, I'm sitting right at that window. I see you every month come by for the last 8 years checking my water meter. And he says, no, that's not me. Must be somebody else. Well, after that, I never saw him again. He never came back for the last 2 years that we were there. It shows you that utility companies, government agencies, are going to show special favors to their friends. But they still got to make up their job performance. They got to do what their job says to do. Just like Tom, he would come over to my house so his friends didn't have to pay the bill. Another neighbor in that same town was getting free satellite service for years. He knew the satellite guy, and they gave him a special card, some sort that he could put in his machine. Well, this guy, the neighbor, had a copier thingy. I don't understand what it was, but he could make his own card. So he was duplicating his card, sending it around to all his friends, while I was paying $150 to have satellite and internet and all that stuff that he was getting for free. There again, I'm paying extra because this guy is stealing it. Not only there is an advantage to being off-grid, in case the electric goes out. I mean, that's a big deal. The electric goes out. I never noticed when electric goes out around here. People cutting down trees, knocked down the power line, knocked out power in the area. I didn't know about it until days later. And then, of course, water. I know what my water is. I know not to trust my water. It's a 60-year-old well, 50 or 60-year-old well. So when I put it in the tank, I bleach it to purify it. Then I put it in a Berkey to purify it again. We hear about municipalities all the time having problems. A few years ago, I don't know how long it was, but Michigan, people were getting sick from lead in their water. We have an aging infrastructure. We're relying on people to take care of us, and they fail to take care of us. I know that one of the city parks that we stayed at in Texas, it was free electric, free water. You gave a little donation. We were putting the water through the Berkey, and I kept tasting this yucky taste in the water, and it was making me sick. Carolyn couldn't taste it, but then she started getting sick too. So we changed the filters on the Berkey, and it wasn't even that old. It was only like 6 months old, those filters were. They're supposed to last 6 years. So we changed the filters, and it did okay for a while. We were only there 2 or 3 days. When we changed the filters, we realized, oh, it was the water. So I took a sip of the water without it, and it tasted like petroleum. You know, like gasoline or oil or something. That's best I could explain it. So here we were drinking water that ruined a set of Berkey filters so bad that it got through the Berkey. What about people that are there all the time in that area? I mean, this was a city park. Kids were coming over to play ball. While we were there, they had an event where the police officers were there, and they're showing the kids how to do certain things and helicopter rides. And so, I mean, there was a lot of people coming to this area. I don't have to worry about any of that. So if you can click on this up next box, take you over my channel, I'd really appreciate it. So I hope I can inspire you to become independent so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.